Welcome back to Master How to Plan, How to Get Things Done. This is Linda Easton, and I am so glad you are here. I'm so glad that you've stuck through the slide number one or video number one, and you're here for video number two. And we're really going to go deep, deep, deep in this one. So get ready, get your notes out, and let's get going. This is where we left off. But we're going to start with backing up just a little bit and just to tell you how thrilled I am to have you here. This is really leading up to a brand new course that I'm creating with you in mind. It's about how women think and live. And I have taken many courses for 30 years. And I know what I know for sure is that we think and live differently than men, and the courses that we create are naturally, each of us, from our own point of view. There are a lot more men in the personal development business right now, and have been for many years, but I really want that to change, and I want to change that. Let's start supporting each other in our journeys. Thank you for being here, and I'm asking for your input to make this webinar and this course after this offered to be the best it can be for you. And I'll talk more about how we can help each other more later. But here is where we are going to go deep into the brainstorming process. You're going to need that pad of paper and those post-it notes, so pull those out, and I hope you have a nice beverage sitting nearby. Plus, it'll be best if you've downloaded the Brainstorm checklist. This handout is for you to use every time you have a brainstorming session. There's room for you to write your company name, the subject to your session, like redesign your website, and the date, name, and place. And it'll be really fun for you to keep track and see the progress you make with each event. And there's also two other handouts there, the project idea sheet and the profit and expense sheet. So I hope that you've downloaded those because we're going to talk about those in a little bit. So let's review. This first video had the analogy, remember my favorite, we started about the renovation shows on HGTV and what a great model for how you can look at your business and build it to be your dream. You've probably been thinking differently about your business since then, and that's a good thing. And then we talked about how to invite to your brainstorming process. So who did you come up with? If you tell us in the comments section, that would be so awesome. The suggestions here were you obviously, your partner, your team, your friend who gets your business, your spouse or partner, and some family members. And if you haven't listened to the first video, then this will seem kind of odd, but so be sure you go back and listen to that video before you go on with this one, because we're taking this literally going through the brainstorming process one step at a time. And now we're all caught up. We're going to talk about the what. The what is, why do we need to plan ahead? Why do we want to do a brainstorming process? And maybe you've heard of brainstorming and once again have never thought of it in this way, in the way that I'm going into it. And this is going to be all through this video, which is going to be shorter than the last one, I think, but the next one we're really going to get deep, deep into it as well. So it's quite a process, and it really is going to get your creative processes flowing. It's unlike probably any other way you've ever done this. And what it's going to do is it is going to get relief from your stress. It's going to get all that stuff out of your head and into this process. Now, granted, I just have to caution you, you are not going to end up using every single idea and every single thing that people come up with from this process in the next 90 days, in the next year, maybe even. But what it will do, it just opens up the floodgates of creativity, and it kind of gets everything out that you've been thinking about, hopefully, but it also gives you something to build on, because it really is the root to planning your success. It really is that very beginning phase that will take you to the next level. Jim Rohn once said, if you want things to change, you have to change. If you will change, everything will change for you. And what that really means to me is that you have been moving along as you have been, thinking you just get this great idea and you just take off with it, or you hear this idea on something that you listen to or you watch or you read and you say, I'm going to do that. That's probably what I need to do next. I need to do Facebook ads. I need to do whatever, just whatever, because things just aren't working and they aren't going as quickly as I want them to. And that is not the way successful people behave. It is not a plan. It is a reaction. And so knowing that what success is all about is planning and implementing a plan and developing the habits that it will take to get things done and get you really clear on your where you're headed. And so that's really what this is all about. That's what I'm all about, is to set up systems that will make that easy and fun, and so that you can still be as creative as you've always wanted to be, and you'll be making the money that you'll always want to make, and knowing that there are ways to go about that and there are ways that not to go about that. And so that's what this entire webinar is about, and it's what the course that I'm going to talk about later is all about. So just think that for things to change, you have to change. You may have to change the way you're thinking. Maybe you're already thinking you need to have systems in place and you just don't know where to find out how to do that. And this is that place. So hang in there with me and let's see what we can make happen for you. So we're going to start with, this is going to seem so basic, because what you need to get this brainstorming session going, besides the who, is what you need to have on hand. And you probably have these supplies just sitting around your office, so you don't even have to spend a penny. But if you don't, you might want to go out and get a few of these things, because it's really, really important to have these 3x3 post-it notes. You could have something bigger if you wanted, not too big. There's some that are like 3x5 or 4x5 or something. Those might work too, but you have to have places to put those. So 3x3 works really great. And having 2 or 3 colors per person that you're going to have at your session is the best way to go. They could categorize them, that kind of thing. You can do all kinds of things once you have the colors, and that's one of the things that you can talk about when you get everybody together. And you want to have markers. I say markers, but it's really a pen that is visible enough from a few feet away when they're writing on it, so people can't write really tiny, that we want them to fill out that space on that 3x3 post-it. They could be writing several words on there, but you want to be able to kind of read it from a few feet away. So having something bolder than just a pen is really the way to go. And then your best idea is to have either a poster boards or flip chart paper that you'll be putting the post-its on, so that they're portable. So you can take them down and take them with you in case wherever you're doing your session, which we're going to talk about in a minute, is not right in your office. Like mine, I have poster sheets and flip chart paper all over the place, but once again, it's not something that a lot of people want to do, and so and it certainly may not be physically possible for you to do for your brainstorming session. So you want to have either poster boards or flip chart paper. So you may have those supplies laying around. You're going to need several. So you may want to go buy the little packet of poster boards instead of just 1 or 2. I'd suggest like 6 at least. And the flip chart paper, once again, that's great because you have a whole pad. And if you're like me, I have dozens of them lying around. So whichever way you choose to go. And then, of course, to be able to put them on the wall, you're going to need that painter's tape, that stuff that doesn't mar the wall, doesn't take the paint off, doesn't stick to the windows so much that you make the windows that you'll have to clean or something like that if you're going to use windows. So when it says blank wall, really either a wall or windows, depending on your situation, either one or both are a great way to go. Then we have to talk about when. And what I'd love for you to do is pull out your calendar right now. Right now. Just pull it out while we're talking. And I know that you've already been thinking about this, because if you've already sort of talked to people about participating in your brainstorm session, they're going to say, well, I could if you tell me when. But I can't say yes until I know. So that's the power of having something on your calendar. Now, once again, maybe you hadn't done this yet because you didn't really know how long to plan for. And I'm going to say an absolute minimum of 2 hours. You really can't rush this process. And when we do the next webinar, next video, you're going to see that there's a lot to this. There's a lot to these steps. And 2 hours max for just sitting down and getting started. But if you really want to finish, it's going to take you longer than 2 hours. So pardon my dog for clearing his throat there. Then I'm going to say either a Friday afternoon, maybe an entire Friday or an entire Saturday. There are people out there who spend an entire weekend or more in a hotel somewhere and do this with their team. And if you can do that, that is awesome. Even a company like Infusionsoft, the owner of Infusionsoft, the founder of Infusionsoft, is a master at brainstorming, and he pulls his teams together every year in massive sessions to plan out what they're going to do. So they can do it right there in their facility. Maybe you have a facility, maybe you don't, but keep in mind that the more open you feel about this and the more time you have left open, in a sense, the less stressed you're going to be about it, and probably the more creative and productive you're going to be. So if you have a friend who has a vacation home, or you have a vacation home, or you just really need to take off and go to someone else's house, so you're not thinking about what your office is like or whatever, you get what I'm saying here? You're going to find a great place where all you're thinking about is this brainstorming session and the project or the planning that you're going to be working on for this time. And you're gonna just do so much better off if you have that. Now, the first time, I'm going to say time will vary, because the first time that you're doing this entire process is going to be a little more difficult on everyone involved, because you're all learning. But knowing that practice makes for some time difference. So the more you do this, the better off you're going to be. The more you brainstorm, and I'm saying once again, every time you start a project, whether it's every 90 days, which is what I do, or every month that you plan. I mean, I break down my 90 days into months, into weeks, but we'll get into that much later in the course, actually, not in this webinar. But knowing that the more you do this, the more you'll hone your skills, and the better off it will be, and the less time it will take. And once again, though, the value of it is just immeasurable. And I know you're going to love this, what this does for you in your life and in your planning. It's so powerful, and you're really going to love it the more you do it. So once again, we're talking about the where. Make sure that wherever it is that you feel comfortable, and that means that you can talk and laugh and talk about just about everything, So it needs to be very private, not in some restaurant where people could be interrupting or overhearing or something like that. Because once again, this can really go deep, and so keep in mind that you want to be able to do that. If you have your team there and people are sharing and giving ideas, and it could get emotional, which is a good thing. So have lots of tissues around and lots of water. But just know that where is really important. You need to have space to spread out. You need to have a place for all the post-it notes that you're writing on, and so that people can sit somewhere, so they can sit and write, because the very beginning of the process, they'll be doing that on an individual basis before you kind of become the team. and you'll need to have room to spread out all those flip chart paper or the poster board on the walls or the windows. So give this a lot of thought as to where you could do this, and hopefully you'll find a good economical solution for you, whatever works best for you. So in this process, now you're thinking about the who, the when, the where. Think about all the ways you and your team can improve. And in the next video, we're going to go deep into how to do it, but there's so much more to this. But until then, I want you to act on this process. You know, think about all the ways you can improve. Don't hold back and think, oh, well, I'm not going to do that in the next 3 months, or I'm not going to do that, you know, this, I'm not going to hire a team, I'm not going to, don't hold back, because once the ideas are all out there, you'll be amazed at what you can make happen. You can all do more than you ever think you can in the amount of time that you have. And so and that's what this process will do for you. It will just completely change your perspective of how you use your time. So don't hold back. Think about all those ways. And if you want to start making notes, that's awesome, but leave the door open for your team to come up with things on their own later as well. So I know, kind of planted a seed there. So I know you're asking now, you know, here you have your superpower, and your questions are, you know, this brainstorming thing, this is going to be a lot of work. And it really is, but it's not any more work than your business is, and isn't it worth it? Isn't this your superpower, or your gift that God has given you? Isn't this what you're all about? Isn't this how you want to live your life? And if you haven't been succeeding at it the way that you would like to, the way that you know you are able to, and the way I know you're able to, then this is a really powerful thing. And to learn how to do this, it can really make a difference. Maybe you don't have a team. Maybe you're just inviting a couple of friends. That is awesome. Maybe you're exchanging. Maybe you know someone else who's an entrepreneur, and you decide to trade. I'll do your brainstorming session if you'll do my brainstorming session. Awesome. But if one of your questions is, what can I do this on my laptop? I would suggest no. I don't think there's anyone out there, I could be wrong, because, you know, I don't know everyone, but I don't think there's anyone out there that would suggest that you do a brainstorming session with a bunch of people, or even two, on a laptop. So that's my thought on that. We'll talk more about that later, I think. I don't want to go into it anymore now. But just know that that's really, really not a good way to do it. It's not as physical. It won't get as emotional. You know, just sitting on a laptop is not the activity that will bring about the results that we're looking for. And where this is leading, really, this is leading towards your future. This is leading towards making a huge difference in your life, the life of your family, the life of those people that you're meant to help. So that's really powerful. So your superpower, I call it your superpower because it is powerful, and this is what we want it to do. We want it to become this change agent, and so that's what brainstorming really in this way will do for you. Once again, not a brain dump. This is way more than that. And so stick with me at least through the next video, where you're really going to see how to do everything. I don't want to overwhelm you. That's why I'm doing these shorter videos. And I want you to know that this is really, really powerful, and we're going to make it happen for you. So there's still so much more to it. Going back to my example of the HGTV show that renovates a home, we're only at the beginning, where we're envisioning what could be. As we walk through the house, we're envisioning it. As we walk through your business, we're envisioning what it could be, and it's exciting. So in that next video, you're gonna see some more possibilities of a new way to construct your dream business, and that is my goal here. This webinar, once again, is not like other ones you've seen, because I will give you everything about brainstorming. I gotten tired of watching videos that are vague and left me frustrated and not empowered. But you will be ready to have a great brainstorming session where you can plan. There are lots more steps, so that's what we're going to do. And we're also going to take, in the course that I'm going to be talking to you about in the next video, this is where we take this brainstorming and we just go from there like it just takes off. But this is really the beginning. This is the beginning of everything that you need to do. It may not be what you thought it was going to be, but if you take this one step and do your brainstorming all in, you'll be amazed at the level of clarity, of inspiration, of support, which I think is so powerful in our lives. We women need more support and power that you feel when you've made this step. And let's face it, I don't know you really yet. I want to, though, and where you are in your business and what you're ready for. But I know that if you're here, you're ready for something more, and I know I can help you. I also know I believe in you, and I know that you have dreams that we can work together to make happen. So, take a deep breath. Hang in there. The other video is coming, but focus on now the who, the what, the when, and the where to work on those things until this next thing, because when you get all those in place, then the next video is going to show you the day of. So what we've been doing is the preparation, but the day of is the next video, and you're going to be able to walk into that brainstorming session and knock their socks off. So fill out the brainstorm checklist, complete all that you can, and fill out a project idea sheet to list all the steps, like listing all the people you're inviting, what the responses were, when that got done, who's committed, your ideas for where you're going to do it. Start making the calls to figure out where you're going to do that and get that booked. And you've already picked the date, of course, because when you call the people and when you call the location, you're going to have to know the date. So have an option just in case. People say, oh, I can't do that. Say, how would such and such a date work better for you? And then you'll get the most people, and think about who it is that's vital to have you, that you want to have there, and work around that, and then book the location, because it's happening. This is really happening for you, and it's got to happen this year. Don't wait until January. Get this done right now, because this will make all the difference in the way you end your year as well as how you begin this new year of business. I hate these kind of to me it's kind of an artificial timing thing, because our business is ongoing. It's not led by the time of year, but for some reason that's kind of how we live our lives. But know that this is important anytime, but don't put it off. Do it right now, because there's no time like the present to launch this amazing business that you want. So until then, till the next video, I'm your coach, Linda Easton. Be extraordinary and live the life that you imagine. So in this process, now you're thinking about the who, the when, the where. Think about all the ways you and your team can improve. And in the next video, we're going to go deep into how to do it, but there's so much more to this. But until then, I want you to act on this process. Think about all the ways you can improve. Don't hold back and think, oh, well, I'm not going to do that in the next 3 months, or I'm not going to do that, I'm not going to hire a team. I'm not going to, don't hold back, because once the ideas are all out there, you'll be amazed at what you can make happen. You can all do more than you ever think you can in the amount of time that you have. And so what and that's what this process will do for you. It will just completely change your perspective of how you use your time. So don't hold back. Think about all those ways. And if you want to start making notes, that's awesome. But leave the door open for your team to come up with things on their own later as well. So I know, kind of planted a seed there.